Welcome to JC Sports, Detroit Lions News Podcast. I'm your host, Show Chap. Detroit Lions signed David Long to the practice squad, and people are asking what to expect out of David Long. And I can tell you this from my experience, and obviously, I liked him come out of the draft in 2019. David Long is a very, very good linebacker. Um, he's got a tendency to be very, very. He can sift through a lot of junk. Not just that, but like if you watch West Virginia. David Long was consistently to the football. If you watch Tennessee Titans, you've seen the same thing. He was a very, very chaotic linebacker. It's kind of like the way that the Detroit Lions play, chaotic. They like to play downhill. That's David Long's game. When you think about the way Kelvin Shepard plays, it's similar to the way the Tennessee Titans play linebacker. They're always looking to go and make the plays at the run game, and they're very, very hectic. And they like to create chaos in there. So this is a good Detroit signing for the Detroit Lions. Obviously, you are going to, with Alex Anzalone going down, you had to get a linebacker. And if you're thinking about who would be the best linebacker for the Detroit Lions at this point in time, I thought, last week, Tyrell Dodson would have been a really good linebacker for the Detroit Lions to grab. Obviously, he got grabbed by the Dolphins, but David Long comes on down, and I thought David Long, when it was a couple years ago or that last year where he was a free agent, I thought Detroit should have signed him because I think he fits Detroit really, really well. He's kind of like a linebacker like Rodrigo. He's kind of like a linebacker like Derek Bart, like Rodrigo more, Alex Anzalone more. He's just that kind of linebacker. He likes to be around the ball, and if you want some stats to David Long, in 2022, David Long, as a linebacker, was a fifth-ranked linebacker in run defense and the first-ranked linebacker in run defense in 2023. Overall in defense, he was 21st in 2021. In 2022, he was 15th overall as a linebacker. And he's going to come into Detroit with a fresh face that he really knows and he really respects, is Terrell Williams. And Terrell Williams is probably going to have the same fits that they had in Tennessee. Not to the T, but he's going to have a really good crash course. I mean, they're going to have some of the same stunts, some of the same line adjustments that they had in Tennessee. I know that for a fact. So when you look at Alex Anzalone going down and you look at potentially a drop-off, potentially there could be an issue with linebacker depth, David Long can step in and be that guy. I do like David Long. I don't think there is anybody that can say, if you watch Tennessee, he was a very good linebacker for Tennessee. And I felt like when he went to Miami, I thought, he had a really good year in 2023. Obviously, he was one of the top run defenders, but it was 113. And he's had three defensive coordinators. He's had three defensive coordinators in the last 3 years. So that's never going to do anybody good. And I don't feel like this current defensive coordinator is with Miami. I don't feel like they played the same game that David Long is accustomed to. So kind of you got lost in the shuffle with David Long. He's going to be a very downhill guy. He's going to get tackles. 2023, he had 113 tackles. 2022 at 86, 75 and 21, 54 in 2020, and 15 in 2019 as a rookie. And you look at it and you go, this guy, I mean, he's always around the ball. He had 12 stuffs in 2023. This year he's had 6, which goes back to his 2021 kind of numbers. But he's a very good player to have on the Detroit Lions roster, especially with Alex Anzalone going down. And honestly, you could have done a lot worse with linebackers, because when you think about linebackers available at this point in time of the year, I mean, it's not really the time to go get a linebacker. It's not really a time to go get anything that you need a starter. But, I think that Aaron Glenn, it's going to fit the scheme of Aaron Glenn. And, this is what he's going to come into. He's going to come into a defense that has, this was an old graphic, but they have 8, they have the 4th most takeaways. They might have more now in terms of the rest of the league, but 19 points per game, the best third down defense. I think that Aaron Glenn is going to love David Long, just the way he plays. I think Terrell Williams is going to give him a little bit of a crash course of what Detroit football is all about. But in terms of the culture, in terms of what Detroit football is, I think David Long is a perfect combination to come into Detroit, because when you look at some of the players on the free agent class, free agent list right now. None of them really speak into Detroit-centric terms. And this guy, David Long, looks like a Detroit Lion, plays like a Detroit Lion, and is a Detroit Lion now. And that's exactly what you're looking for, man. This is exactly who you want to come on board. And this is a very good signing for Detroit. I think he's going to excel with Detroit. And I think in the second half, he's really going to take off. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with David Long in Detroit. We'll have more on the Detroit Lions News podcast as we go on. But the Detroit Lions signed David Long to the practice squad, and he'll be up for a game. I'm sure he'll be on the active roster pretty soon. I'm Joe Chapman, Detroit Lions News Podcast and JC Sports. I'll see you guys in the next video as we talk more Detroit Lions football. Thank you for watching and subscribe below.